Hello, my name is Emmanuel Markoulakis. I am here a postdoc in the Hellenic Mediterranean University, Department of Electronics. I want to present you, has nothing to do with my current research here affiliated in the university. This is just my hobby research I'm doing in cosmology and quantum physics, and I had like to present you my theory of everything. So it's a short presentation, but I think it's very significant contribution, my contribution to the field, and I ask you to bear with me for this quite short presentation of 10 slides. I know me myself, I don't like PowerPoint presentations, but please bear with me, and I promise you it will pay back, because you will be surprised how this theory of mine of everything can explain many things. So bear with me. The crux of the theory is at slide 7. So if you can excuse my presentation, my point presentation, don't try to read through the points. I just this is more for me, to remember what to say. Just listen, and you can, if you want, if you like, then in the future go and review again the points I make in the presentation. So let's start the slide presentation. So okay, and a theory of everything is actually a quantum gravity theory that assumably will unite general relativity with quantum field theory, which is the most advanced theory we have in quantum physics today, most established theory, as well the most classical established theory of gravity. As you know, that this is many decades now struggle of science to unite gravity with other three quantum forces, the other four quantum forces and quantum fields, which are the electromagnetism, essentially at the quantum level called electrodynamics, QED theory, the strong and weak nuclear forces. And this was not very successful. Actually, this will constitute a theory of everything if we succeed to unite these things. So, in my theory, in order to do this, there is a fifth force missing, the fifth undiscovered force in the universe. I believe that this must be a Planckian-Kaluza-Klein type compacted extra dimensions theory, which will describe an elementary particle, which is actually the only elementary particle, I believe, that constitutes space-time, the vacuum, and also quantum gravity. It's one single particle that describes all matter, light in our universe, and also the zero-point energy of the vacuum. So this particle describes not only matter and mass in our universe, but all the forces, the known forces, including gravity. Okay. So how we describe such a theory, a theory of everything, how we discover it? There are many paths we can take. one researchers take one possible path is working mathematically the existing established theories, meaning quantum field theory and general relativity. So from the formalism of the theories, we try to extend this theory mathematically and discover from these existing theories to derive a theory of everything. That's one way. But in my opinion, this is not very fruitful approach, because these theories were not, when constructed, were not really constructed bearing in mind that there could be the theories of everything. So they have several limitations and constraints. The second path we can take for constructing a theory of everything is to start from scratch and constructing a new fundamental theory that replaces the current quantum field theories and general relativity. Examples of these theories are the string theories, quantum loop theory, or any other extra dimensions theories. These theories, however, try always to comply with quantum field theory and general relativity, which, as we described before, have set inside the formalism several constraints and limitations. For example, one of these constraints is the speed of causality, namely the speed of light, the speed of the photons inside the vacuum, which is fine, but these theories are not adequate to describe and explain, I believe, the deepest questions we have for our universe and physical reality. So in my opinion, the above methods are not the correct path for constructing a theory of everything, and are prone to fail. So what is my suggestion of what the correct way to construct such a theory of everything? It must be a theory that does not obey the limitations set by quantum field theory and general relativity, and instead quantum field theory and general relativity are now, according to this theory, emergent theories from this one fundamental theory. Theory must conclude, this theory of everything must conclude to a single elementary particle that describes everything in our universe, all matter and energy, including space-time vacuum, and must integrate all four known forces: electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear forces, and gravity. This also described as a theory of quantum gravity, which is essentially a theory of quantum gravity is essentially a theory of everything. So this is also why we are currently in a ferocious hunt for such a theory, because this is really the holy grail of physics, to unite all forces into one. So this theory must conclude to a single particle that describes everything, matter and forces and energy in our universe. So this we can call now a God particle, but not in reference with the Higgs boson. But in my opinion, this will be the real God particle, the particle that can truly integrate all forces we know in our universe in a single particle. So this particle must be essentially Planckian, compacted in Euclidean extra dimension space. So you know about the compacted extra dimensions. It's just a way to describe in a very microscopic level. There could be some kind of fields where the quanta of this field, the distortion of this field, is at sub-Planck length or Planck length and constitutes everything. So imagine that our universe, everything we know, light, matter, the planets, the molecules, the atoms, imagine it like a painting. So we're now after the paint pigment, the smallest component that constitutes, makes up the paint. And yes, of course, now you will ask, so now you say to us that the elementary particles of the Standard Model are not elementary. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. This is essentially for constructing a theory of everything, because if we, in a theory of everything, there can be only one elementary particle, in my opinion, and all other particles of the Standard Model must be composites. So this code particle must be essentially Planckian, compacted in Euclidean extra dimensions that makes up all space-time fabric in vacuum as a condensate. So it's a sea of this elementary space-time particle, and all the other particles are just distortions in this condensate, in this sea of this fundamental God particle, and therefore it's responsible for creating mass and the mass and the no light energy in our universe. However, the bare energy of this particle must be one scale above our luxons, e photon space-time, in order for space-time to exist without breaking the universal laws of conservation of energy and thermodynamics. So in my theory, you cannot have the existing observable matter and energy in our universe without this being constructed from a higher Planckian scale energy. Therefore, the energy of the code particle must be superluminal. You have to go one level above and to construct our observable matter and energy in our universe, because I assume that all this matter and light we see in our universe are not fundamental to the universe, but are emergent effects of this superluminal energy. This will have many, as we see next, we will solve many problems, like the large scale, the conservation of energy of in our universe, which because the dark energy is not conserved. So we don't know from where this extra energy comes from that expands infinitely the universe. But adopting this concept of a higher level energy, which somehow we will see in the next slides evaporates to our space-time, then we can have all this energy in our universe without breaking the universal law of the conservation of energy. So this particle also must reside not in our space-time, but in the dark sector space-time, in a separate space-time sector. I remind you here that yes, information cannot be transferred faster than the speed of light c, but this information is Luxon's information. This information that is propagated through photons. There could be, in our case we describe here, there's this sub-Planckian extra dimensions fundamental particle of the theory of everything that has a superluminal energy, is not a luminal energy, and can propagate information faster than light. So this is important because if you see our universe, if you make it an analogy with a molecule in the human body, in any substance, a molecule, we see there that the molecule, to be coherent, we need a speed of light which is 3 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second, which is a very enormous, spatially a very large number compared to the tiny size of a molecule. So, philosophically now speaking, therefore, the speed of light is a very slow speed to make the vast universe cohere as a coherent system. Information, not light information, but this superluminal energy information must be propagated much faster than speed light in order our universe to remain coherent. So the necessary priorities for this theory of everything we describe here is first that all known energy and the three forces, electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear forces, and their associated quantum fields originate out of the zero-point vacuum energy. Thus, the quantum form and virtual particles. Vacuum energy and vacuum flux is the energy by which all particles are made up as coherent localized discrete distortions in the vacuum energy at rest. So imagine you have this condensate of these gold particles, which is constitutes a sea that is omnipresent everywhere, and then you have the quantum fields, which are actually excitations, aka particles in this sea of these fundamental Planckian particles we describe in our theory of everything. So it's like a paint, and the painter makes the painting, the image from this paint by this. So we're now describing, as I said before, the pigments, the smallest components, the smallest particles of this paint. But everything is constituted from the same substance. So, therefore, all particles of the Standard Model are made up from zero-point vacuum energy, or else called vacuum quantum flux or quantum form, as a coherent stream of virtual particles, which we also know in normal physics terms as electromagnetic flux, similar to what we can see in the field of a magnet. So in our theory of everything, you have this substance, this material, you could say, by which everything is made. So they are just manifolds of these kinds of streams of virtual particles. So, for example, here we have a free electron. This is a toy model of the electron, which is a manifold made from coherent vacuum zero-point energy. So each of these flux is quantum flux actually of the vacuum, and when it gets a coherent shape and manifold, then the actual elementary particle, not elementary, according to our theory, the electron particle is made up from this quantum flux. So imagine it like you have a sea, and you make a vortex with your finger on the surface of this water, of the sea, and this manifold which is created is the electron now. But the electron is made up from these elementary vacuum particles, which is we can say the quanta, the elementary particles of the fabric of space-time. So we continue with our priorities for our theory of everything. Gravity is a quantum Planck force that originates not from matter but from the vacuum. So now is not matter is just a gradient of this vacuum energy. Yes. So, but the gravity and also all other three forces we know all originate from this from the vacuum, not from the mass. Mass, you can say it's just a gradient of this vacuum energy, where you have a higher concentration of vacuum energy. But it's not the mass itself, it's not matter itself that originates gravity. But gravity is intrinsically a property of the vacuum. So this is also, it's not also established theory, quantum field theory, says that all quantum fields originate actually from the vacuum. So vacuum is actually, we have, our physics are very oriented to matter and light, but we are very, in my opinion, very behind in describing the third player in our universe, which is the vacuum, and in my opinion is the key for making a theory of everything. Finally, what we see as vacuum and empty space is intrinsically superluminal oscillation dark energy that evaporates into luminal zero-point energy, which is the fabric of our Luxon spacetime and manifests all matter and light we observe. So this now describes dark energy is not just the zero-point vacuum energy, but we see only the tip of the dark energy. The largest component of dark energy is actually superluminal vacuum energy, and it's hidden from our observation. We observe only a very small component we call zero-point energy, and which is the component that expands the universe. But behind the scenes, we believe that there is a dark sector where there is no Luxon causality there is no light causality. So the propagation of information there goes much faster than the speed of light. And there resides the most energy of the vacuum. And this serves like a reservoir of energy that slowly leaks, evaporates to our space-time and makes up all matter and light, and also constitutes the three known forces, but also gravity. Therefore, and I'm concluding, quantum field theory and general relativity are not fundamental, but instead emergent theories of this superluminal energy of the vacuum we describe. So now here is the crux of our theory. Remember, a theory of everything must conclude to a single particle, which is the quanta, the only actual elementary particle that constitutes everything and is omnipresent. So in our theory, this particle is the spin 2 elementary graviton, but with a small addition, this particle must have superluminal energy, meaning that it's not a tachyon, not to be confused with a tachyon. It does not translate in space continuously with a speed higher than light, in this case, which is superluminal, but instead it's oscillating superluminal. So let's see now how this single particle integrates all matter in our universe and all the known forces. So you have here a ring of this dark energy, but it's not the dark energy which is responsible for the expansion of the universe. It's now the hidden dark sector dark energy. And this here string, you can call it, rotates in place. It does not translate, it's stationary, but oscillates, it rotates with a tangential superluminal speed, many times faster than the speed of light. The size is, of course, Planckian. That means that it's comparable to 1 Planck length. This very energetic part is this dark energy, This is the bare graviton. And as you see here, it evaporates to a cloud, to a halo. This halo is very key, a very key point of our theory, because according to our theory, everything is constituted from 0-point energy of the vacuum. So the dark superluminal energy evaporates to luminal speed, Lorentz invariant energy, which is this cloud. This is the stuff from which everything is made and observed in our universe, namely all matter, baryonic matter, light, photons. Yeah. So this halo is the 0-point energy, the component of the dark energy, the superluminal energy we can see, we can observe, and which is also responsible for the expansion of the universe. So now we have the dark energy, which is superluminal. We have the energy, which is this cloud, which is the stuff by which everything we know is made, and also explains the three from the four forces, namely the quantum forces, electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear forces. And there is only one component missing to unify all known forces under one manifold, under a single particle. So what is gravity? Gravity is this singularity at the center, this center region here, which is a void of energy. Energy is totally missing. It's a void of energy, completely missing. So all the gravity is actually the absence of any type of energy. So you have the superluminal energy, which is not observable. You cannot observe this energy, the ring this here. We have the evaporation product of this superluminal energy, which is actually our universe, the universe we can see, which includes everything, the 0-point energy of the vacuum, matter and light. Yes, and finally the absence of any energy makes gravity. So therefore you get an effect similar to a negative pressure, which is what we observe in our universe macroscopically as gravity. So this is this small particle, this elementary graviton superluminal particle we theorize, is the only elementary particle that exists in our universe, constitutes all other particles of the Standard Model, and it forms a condensate. This condensate we see as a vacuum, as empty space. But it's not. Vacuum is intrinsically superluminal energy. So now an example of how this gravitons we describe of our theory of everything that constitutes all fabric of space-time and matter and light. How this is responsible, for example, something where we are very familiar, like the electromagnetic flux. The flux we see that comes out of the vacuum always. The flux we see, for example, in the field of a magnet, or the field between the plates of a capacitor, the electric flux field. So imagine that we now zoom in this in a single flux line. So our theory says that this is made, this single flux line is made from a string of coherent aligned gravitons, like this. This graviton here is it's like actually a tube of these coherent gravitons, but we don't see this part here. This is the superluminal part. We just see the mantle here, the halo. The evaporation of this very energetic dark energy ring here that rotates superluminally. This halo here, which is the quantum form of virtual particles, is what actually is responsible for making up the single flux line. But now, what we have now, by describing with you this with our elementary graviton particles, a single flux line, we can actually explain all the spectra of all electromagnetic phenomena like static fields or dynamic electromagnetic waves, because this flux, which is a distortion of the vacuum energy, actually, like imagine like ripples in a pond of water, is what constitutes all electromagnetic waves, and in our theory also from this quantum flux also electrons are made like this. So this the charge of the electron is actually made from this quantum flux here. The blue lines here are streams of this quantum flux energy, which is, as we have here in this manifold of the graviton, is actually not the ring here, but the evaporation halo here, this vapor here that constitutes the flux and actually everything in our universe, all matter and light, because all particles of the standard models or its excitations in the quantum fields are made up from this 0-point energy, this evaporation halo here of the single graviton, this evaporation energy. So now we have the pigments of our paints, and we have our paint by which our universe is constructed. So truly, this here particle integrates all energies and forces, non-forces of our universe, integrated in single manifold, which again is, as I say, is of Planck size. So this here must be sub-Planck actually, the bare graviton, which is the diameter of the ring, but together with the evaporation halo of this evaporation energy of this graviton, we go to Planck length. So the bare particle is sub-Planck according to our theory, but the dress particle with the zero evaporating energy, this halo here, makes it at Planck length. So let's now see how this dark space-time sector we describe, which is constituted from this graviton, superluminal condensate of gravitons, of superluminal oscillating gravitons, is coupled with our known Einsteinian light space-time. So you have here the dark space-time sector. So our theory actually says that there is no just one space-time in our universe. There are two space-times, and they have two different causalities. We have our space-time, which is dominated from light and obeys the space-time causality. The light causality, the luxons. Luxons is another name for photons. It obeys the luxons causality, thus is restricted by the speed of light, propagation of information. And we have also the dark sector, where the superluminal component of energy of our universe resides, this dark space-time sector, and which is not Lorentz invariant. It's not Lorentz invariant, and there the information propagates much faster than the speed of light. So you have here this superluminal called graviton condensate we described. And we have the superluminal energy, this here, which is represented by this very energetic, very fast superluminal rotating oscillating ring that evaporates slowly to our space-time and becomes the evaporation product is this halo, is the 0-point energy of the vacuum actually, which is, this energy is, yes, Lorentz invariant, so it obeys the speed c limit, the speed of causality of light, and but this is just the evaporation product, is just a tiny fraction of the total superluminal energy which resides in the dark sector. So this now vacuum 0-point energy is responsible for the creation of all matter and light in our universe. So all particles of the standard model are made up from this evaporating vacuum 0-point energy, from this quantum form. That's the substance which makes our realm, our reality. And of course, this matter and light, which is actually just a coherent version of the vacuum zero-point energy, which is incoherent. You have incoherent noise, the quantum form, but whenever it takes a coherent form, then we constitute the standard model particles. These two, we see here the interaction is bidirectional of the fields with the zero-point energy of the vacuum, and they're actually matter and light particles. And now we have the last player, which is the gravity, which is the total void of energy, here, the center of the manifold, of the Graviton manifold, which is now, this here, it does not, is not mediated through the vacuum zero-point energy, but is directly mediated from the dark space-time sector to the light space-time sector. Yes, and of course here you have bidirectional interference between the matter and light and the quantum gravity in the dark space-time sector. But please here notice that for the energy which evaporates to zero-point energy, the arrow is not bidirectional; it's only one direction. Because if the vacuum, that would mean that the energy here could transition to a higher energy and go back to superluminal dark energy. But then this will break the second law of thermodynamics, because you have a higher level energy here, it evaporates in a lower energy level, and this energy level cannot return back to a higher energy form, because then you will break the second law of thermodynamics, which we consider is a universal law. It's not just general relativity of quantum, it's very universal law. You cannot break this law. But because gravity is not energy, it's just the void of the absence of any energy, yes, then this can mediate it directly and bidirectional between the two space-time sectors. So, and also we here with the term cold, we describe, because our gravitons, we do not consider it as being tachyons in nature. They're actually particles at rest. So it's like the molecules of the sea. Yeah, they don't move; they are at rest. Of course, they can be displaced, but normally they are at rest. And the term superluminal comes not from the translation, the translation is not relativistic, but from the oscillation. The oscillation is superluminal, the tangential speed by which this ring here of fire rotates at a fixed center, but the particle itself is not translating superluminal. Although it can be displaced in the near field, the radiation of this, the dark energy radiation, can travel superluminal, but the particle itself cannot. So it can be displaced like a domino, like falling dominoes for a near field for very short distances, but the particle itself is not continuously traveling at superluminal speed. And now you could say, but how is it possible a particle which you describe as being massless, the bare graviton, not to be at rest? Yes, you can have this because now we have superluminal energies, and superluminal energy we describe in our papers cannot generate mass and matter. Mass and matter is just an effect which occurs whenever you have speed smaller than c. Then you have matter. It's mass and matter is exclusively a phenomenon that occurs at subluminal energies. Okay, luminal. Okay, at C, on subluminal you have then matter. And also remember that now we will describe a particle that constitutes space-time itself. So yes, it can do that. And it's, by the way, we describe it like a condensate. So if it's in a condensate, you don't have translational motion continuous translational motion of the quanta that constitutes this condensate. So yes, this was my presentation. You can also see some references in the description of the video. I very much like to thank you at this point. And this was a demonstration that this was not meant to be technical and presenting the mathematics, the formulation of the theory. This we are doing now, and there will be soon a presentation of our theory of everything, and hopefully published. But this presentation was mainly to present conceptually the theory, the concepts of the theory, and because we don't believe that a theory must necessarily start from the mathematics and then trying to extract physical concepts from the mathematics, but the other way around. First you describe the conceptually your theory, and then you formulate the theory with math. So yes, so thank you very much for bearing with me for this time, and I wish you well and stay healthy. This is Emmanuel Markoulakis from the Hellenic Mediterranean University. Thank you very much.